Hi guys, welcome back to the football. Hi guys, welcome back to the Football Showdown channel for a fresh new video. And this video we are going to judge who's the best and the worst signing in each Premier League club in this specific season. And today, to help me with this, I have my friend, my roommate, Nikhil Kavuru.
I thought that would be nice. It felt nice in my brain.
Well, he's the City fan that I've been talking about. He's a City fan who keeps making fun of me, who kept saying that Arsenal bottled the league last season and this season as well.
I mean, it's obvious. You've been seeing that.
Bottling this season, I would say Liverpool, but yeah, it is what it is.
See, I get it. Liverpool bottled the league, but still, Arsenal did the same thing. So, let's agree.
Well, that's not the video for today. The video today is to judge who's the best signing and the worst signing for each Premier League club this season. So, without any other waffling and without any more hangama, let's get into the video right now. Right, the first relegated team, Sheffield United. The best play that we thought was Gustavo Hammer. Why? Because to be honest, Sheffield didn't have a great season. We all expected Sheffield to go down as expected. But in the best of the worst performers, we felt Gustavo Hammer was the best. What are your opinions?
You know, to be honest, talking a nice thing about Sheffield United, I didn't expect I'd be doing it this season.
Right.
From the start, when they were promoted, I heard a point where, Burnley fans had hope. Had a very high hope on company saying they'll stay.
Right.
And then, Luton with the fairy tale story where they were renovating the stadium. Even I heard people saying that they had a chance of staying in the Premier League.
Right.
But never have I heard that Sheffield is going to stay. Or will they ever finish anything better than 20th? So, this season is no surprise. And players also didn't surprise me. Barring one exception, as you told, Gustavo Hammer. Yeah, it's obvious. When you sign someone for a Premier League team for 8 million, that too from Coventry City, when they were struggling last season, they were not in the picture for promotion or anything. But then this guy comes in, gives you 4 goals, 6 assists as a first time in the Premier League, where that 6 assists is the highest for that particular club. Being a midfielder, more so a defensive midfielder than anything else. That's just insane for that signing, that too for that particular club.
Right.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah, we agree that he was the best among the worst performers, but the worst signing that we felt Sheffield had done this season was Arsenal's player, Aston Turner. Well, to be very fair, Aston Trusty. To be very fair, he did not play for Arsenal, but he was the best player at Birmingham. If I'm not wrong, there was enough news and there's enough hype as well with him scoring multiple goals, from him being the main guy in defense to make sure that that Birmingham had a good season. But when he came to Sheffield United, it was completely opposite. So we thought it was the worst signing.
You could see the hype that he had in Birmingham City when Sheffield signed him for a whopping 6 million for a centre back, that too. When I am pretty sure even the board or the players were expecting to get battered throughout the season. When they considered 104 goals over a span of 38 games.
104?
104 goals. And then this man has played 34 games.
Right.
And to be honest, he's not the worst in the club. He, according to the ratings, is the second worst.
Right.
But signings wise, he is the worst. There's no questions there.
Yeah, he may not be the worst, but
new signings.
Exactly.
The
in the new signings that Sheffield brought in, he was the worst.
I don't know what else Sheffield United fans expected when they're signing the Arsenal Academy player.
He's not even Arsenal Academy. He came from US. He just came on loan.
It shows the scouting system that Arsenal has. You're not helping your cause, so.
Anyways, the next team is Burnley. Well, Burnley had a sort of a very high expectations before the season started, especially with the way company played, the all-out attack football, the build-up from the back. He thought it was going to be amazing. Well, it worked out in the Championship. It did not work out in the Premier League. No surprises there. But only the surprise was that Burnley didn't go back to the Brexit football that every Premier League fan knows. Our best performing signing was James Trafford. No doubt. City fan, I'll let him talk.
There's no arguing that Trafford was the best signing. So to speak more on what Burnley was this season, more or less you could expect that they were going to be a team that were going to stick with their ways. But we knew it wouldn't work out because we were seeing Arsenal do that last season when they came to home of City, United and everything and tried to play their own type of football. That went bad.
True.
Not adapting to a team's play style, just going and playing their own way. That was very bad, and the same thing you could see with Burnley this season.
Right.
But Trafford, my God, he was brilliant. He had 2 clean sheets, and those are the only 2 clean sheets that Burnley had this season. So you could say, and he won a man of the match in that match. So that's a very difficult thing to do when you concede 78 goals in a season, which is more or less 2 goals per match. Still managing to win 1 man of the match, that's a big thing. City product, what else? Yeah. So you could see that Muric played 14 games, but still Trafford is the best keeper for the team. I mean, he's the best signing.
And in terms of prospects as well, he's brought in a lot of hype as well, right?
Yep.
When he had a very good World Cup as well. I think he stopped the penalty that could have turned against England, but I think he was the one who saved England from that. What do we say? The agony that always England had regarding penalties. So yeah, that's what we think about the best signing. Worst signing.
There's no doubt, it's Aaron Ramsey.
Yeah, Aaron Ramsey was
obviously
such a bad signing, 0 goal contribution.
When you spend 20 million for a guy from Aston Villa, hoping that he would be the main man to keep you in the Premier League, but that didn't happen.
True.
My man, he played 17 games. There's no goal contributions, none whatsoever. And even worse is that their other signing, which was Stresser, he came from Genk. Everyone were expecting him to be the man, along with Aaron Ramsey. No, even he didn't contribute anything. 0 goals, 0 assists. Just a very bad season. So yeah.
Yes. Well,
it's horrible.
Burnley had a horrible season, and again, we're not saying that these guys were amazing. We're just saying these were the best and the worst performing in the present signings that were made in the summer and in the winter season as well. But do let us know in the comment section who you guys think is the worst for Burnley and who do you guys think is the best as well. So yeah, moving on. Next up we have Luton Town, the fairy tale story from the championship. They've come in. I think the first 2-3 home games were
difficult to break, though. I wouldn't say good performance from them, but it was difficult. The atmosphere was there from a very small stadium and a very small fan base. You could see that. But as the season progressed, in one way they were put in their place, to be honest.
Yeah. So but at least they not finish 20th. They finished 17th. That was really commendable to be there.
I wasn't expecting them to finish over Burnley for sure. At the start of the season, no. I didn't expect them to finish ahead of Burnley, but they did, and they did comfortably by 2 points. They got those 1-2 crucial wins against teams that no one were expecting them to get a win through. That makes sense. And when it comes to the best signing, I mean, it's obvious.
Yeah, the Ross Barkley free transfer, it was absolutely amazing. I mean, I genuinely didn't think he would turn all those years just to perform well for Luton. I honestly think after this season, as this season ended, I think he'll still remain in the Premier League for some other team. I'm very sure of that.
I'm hoping that he remains the class he showed. It was just beautiful.
True.
This is what I was expecting him to do in Chelsea. But then, yeah. So you could, I mean, see, the class is always there. He had the class when he was in Everton, when he was in Chelsea.
Yep.
But then just couldn't show it. This
9 goals and assists in the midfield is still great to be verified.
He scored 5 goals in Premier League. So yeah, that's a big thing for Luton Town when there's no creativity whatsoever in the team. Makes sense.
And the worst signing?
I'm really excited to say this. Tahiti Chong. Being a City fan, I always feared Tahiti Chong in his younger ages. He was supposedly the next big thing.
Right.
A Dutch guy with some flair of Overmars, the pace of Overmars. But then, my God, the compilation videos I used to see of his, he was something else.
Right.
At least the videos or the under 15 level or whatever. But then, so the hype never, panned out. He never made it there.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, props to him. He still survived in the Premier League after those many things. He still played in the Premier League. He played 5 goals. He scored 5 goals. So that's not bad. I mean, we are saying 5 goals was a decent season for Ross Barkley. But the thing is, the stages where Ross Barkley is a deeper player, scoring 5 goals, 4 assists. This guy just scoring 5 goals when he played 38 games. My God, that's not there.
Yeah, true. We all hope that Luton stayed up. But I guess not all fairy tales have a great ending, right?
Yeah.
So Luton went down, unfortunately, in the worst possible ways. But next team who we thought would not be surviving this season was Nottingham Forest.
Yes, true, very true.
Nottingham Forest, they've invested a lot last season. They've invested a lot this season as well. And this season, I think they have a lot more, let's say, smart buys, if not anything hi-fi. In smart buys, we felt Callum Hudson-Odoi was the best signing that they made. They spent close to how much?
3 million, 4 million, that's it. It is a more or less change that they spent on him. buying him from Bayer Leverkusen.
Right.
So he came from there. He gave 8 goals, 2 assists out of nowhere. More than just the stats, he was just exciting to watch in the league.
True.
The flair that he had in Chelsea when he was in Chelsea, my man, he replicated it here.
Good. I mean, it was
there,
a close finish between him and Elanga, right?
Yeah, to be honest, Elanga, he played few more games than him. Contributing less. That's, I think, when it comes to these two, it's just the stats that separated them. Leading us to picking Hudson over Elanga.
And worst one, I'll leave it to him actually, because he was most excited to talk about the worst one. Because
that was Ibrahim Sangare. So I remember it last year when he was in PSV. So I'm a huge FIFA player. I saw his team of season card. I was so excited. So apparently he had a very insane season last season there.
Right.
So when he came here for Nottingham Forest, always had a soft spot for Nottingham. He came. I was excited for 31 million, that too.
Right.
So a team spending 31 million. When you see the previous signings, they loaned in people like Lodi and all. So I had hopes when they spent 31 million for him.
Right.
But then he just played 17, man. Injuries, whatnot, but still.
Yeah.
He just played 17.
Yeah.
Couldn't do anything in the Premier League. Maybe his physicality, whatever. He just sucked, to be honest. Just bad.
True.
But I'm pretty sure next season he'll be insane in that midfield. With Oda on one wing and then Elanga on the other, just pinging balls. That'll be exciting to watch. Once he's back in full fitness, or at least half the form that he had in PSV, I think he'll be insane.
Next up, we have Brentford on the table. Now, Brentford was a very difficult club to judge, because not for the right reasons, all because of the wrong reasons, because none of the players performed well from the transfers that they brought in this season. Yet, we have come up with the best and the worst. Best one, we have come up with Nathan Collins. We thought he was doing really well defensively, and his contributions were all right, to be fair.
So as you told, it's a very difficult thing to judge. So there are only 3 standout signings they had: Nathan Collins, Neil Maupay, and Reguilon. Whereas Reguilon, he played half the season in United, and then the other half here.
Right.
You could see the state, that we are facing, where you're picking 3 people and have to decide. So it's just difficult. But yeah, I agree with you. Nathan Collins, even though he's playing at the back, being the center man in the back 5, he still somehow managed to score 2 and assist 1.
Right.
Funny enough, it is the same goal contributions as Norgard, their main attacking midfielder. Right. So you could see the state that Brentford were in.
Right.
If not for Nottingham's point deduction, they have finished 18th, 17th, just above Luton.
Just above Luton.
Yeah. So you can see the states.
Wow.
That's the reason why I'm not really comfortable picking their best
of the
signing.
worst.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's the proper definition of best of worst. Yeah.
And the worst signing?
Again, Neil Maupay. That's the thing. When you have so few signings to talk about, you got to pick the decent player as the best and as the worst. So again, Neil Maupay wasn't bad, but that doesn't mean he was good. He was... It's fine. I mean, when you are expecting him to step up and take Ivan Toney's place, but this man comes in and only gives you 6 goals. It is bad.
True.
So yeah, that is the reason why he's the worst transfer.
I mean, there was enough injuries as well with Mbuemo as well. So I mean, not completely blaming Neil Maupay, but when Neil Maupay came to Brentford at that time, we all thought he was going to be the main man to make sure that they still score goals and they keep them afloat. Obviously, they stayed afloat, but he was not performing to the hype or to the level that I'm sure Brentford fans wanted to.
See, I'm pretty sure if Nottingham wouldn't have gotten the deduction, Brentford would have finished 17th. Then the whole conversation that we are having would have been different.
True.
Where you'd be talking about Neil Maupay coming in, doing nothing, and just finishing outside relegation. That would have been a different story to talk about. So I feel we are giving credit in terms that we avoided relegation.
Right.
But then again, they would have avoided relegation, but just by a couple of points, if not for the deductions there. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you.
Makes sense.
Neil Maupay.
Next team that we have on the table is Everton. Now Everton, we don't want to talk too much about it because honestly, I do not know how they've survived a relegation for the 3rd time in this. Yeah,
exactly.
3rd time. It was just horrible. And out of the worst performance, the best one we thought was Jack Harrison with 7 goal and assist contributions, and the worst one.
Beto, I mean, Beto was the most
Beto
obvious thing you could say.
True,
Signing for 31 million. respect, he played 37 games this season, not getting injured.
Right.
But the thing is, when you play 37, give 5 goals and 2 assists, this is horrible, man.
True.
He just has 3 goals in Premier League. That's it.
Yeah, 31 million for just how many? 5 goals? 6?
5 goals.
5 goals. It was just horrible.
Yeah, I mean, he would have been better in Serie A. No offense, but then Premier League is not for him.
Well, we spoke about how bad it was at Everton. Let's talk about the prodigal son returning back to Wolves. Matt Doherty. I mean, Wolves signings were absolutely trash. To be very honest, like we're seeing Matt Doherty is better than their other signing, Tommy Doyle, because he has 4 assists or 4 goals and assists in total. But still, it was not good enough for Wolves, and they should have signed better players. Not saying that they have done it completely bad, but Matt Doherty was probably the best out of the worst.
See, the thing I don't get is they generated 60 million from just one player selling Nunez to City. But the thing is, they couldn't invest in anywhere. You see Matt Doherty coming in, us talking and saying that he is the best signing for them.
Right.
Dude, it didn't get any better, when talking from Everton and this, it didn't get any better. So the only reason why we went with Doherty is just because he filled in for Aït-Nouri when needed.
Right.
He played at the left back. Semedo was there. He played throughout the season for Wolves.
Right.
But even though he's naturally a right back, right wing back, right midfielder, he still managed to play at left back, left wing back. He even played in the midfield sometimes. So
True.
he played 37 games in total, if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
That too, just filling in for someone, not starting. So I think he's the perfect rotation player that they wanted. They got him. And going for the worst. I don't know what to say about him.
Santiago Bueno.
My God. I mean, this was before Girona hype and all, I get it. But then you still sign someone from Girona, a team bang average in La Liga, for 12 million. Fine, I get it. Now 12 million is not a big number, but still for Wolves it is. What did he do? Played 17 games, man. He has a centre back, and the best stat is in those 17 games, he only made 7 tackles. Only 7.
Yeah.
You could see that. Just levels.
Well, again, we didn't have much to decide on how bad it is. We just had to pick the best out of the worst. And next team that we want to talk about is Fulham. Fulham, I think it's pretty straightforward who their best player was. Alex Iwobi. I don't think there's any debate here.
No.
Yeah, Alex Iwobi.
And the worst. Point of discussing also, just Iwobi.
Yeah, Alex Iwobi. Like, there's no doubt. And the worst one.
It's obvious. I mean, here you don't need to discuss. It's just, bro. There's nothing there. Yeah, there's nothing.
There's not bias, anything. Like, it's not our hate for Chelsea or anything. It's just like when you have Raúl Jiménez, who's not completely fit in terms of, after that big injury and him coming back and all of that, and still having no impact, having 0 to no impact, and then doing nothing in that minutes given as well is absolutely disastrous.
It didn't happen for Broha this season, especially where he was the second fiddle for Nicholas Jackson. I didn't think some player could be a second fiddle to Nicholas Jackson the way he's playing this season.
Right.
So Chelsea were so confident on Nicholas Jackson that they let him go midway, and then he comes to Fulham, starts 7-8 games.
True.
It's the worst signing. Here, this is one thing where we don't need to think about a lot.
Yeah, that's true. And the next team, who had a very let's say a hot and cold kind of season, because initially they started off poorly and then they ended the season on a very, very good note. It is Bournemouth. Yeah. Now, Bournemouth had many good performers, but in terms of signings that have done well in this present season, we thought it was Justin Clivewood with about 11 goal and assist, if I'm not wrong. So we thought he was the best one. Any words about it? Or?
No, I agree with you. He always had hype when he was in Roma, when he was in La Liga. He always had hype. It is half the reason was because of his father. I get it. But again, he still is surviving on his own. I get it. But this season for Bournemouth, I think he's the best signing. 9 goals, 2 assists. That's good enough.
Yeah. And the worst we thought was Milo. I mean, yeah.
Being a left back, you can't play 33 games and give 1 assist. When you're playing for Bournemouth, especially a team that is not creative enough, relies on counters, you're a left back, they rely on you to bomb forward or go forward, hit them on counters, and you come up with 1 assist. Come on. And they spent 18 million for him.
18, right. Yeah, wait, that's one of the criteria. When you spend that much and still giving nothing, just 1 assist was just horrible. So yeah,
that's bad.
Milo was the worst player for Bournemouth. Next up, Brighton. Again, it was a very shaky start for them. I mean, they started off all right. They were good in between. Then they had European games that kind of hindered their season, and But the best performance that came from that team was João Pedro. 20 goals and assists, being called up for Brazil as well. That was a huge performance from João Pedro.
Yeah, I agree. So when we generally talk about Brighton, we talk about their last season, where they had people like McAllister, Caicedo, Solly Marsh, Pascal Grob, where you talk about Brighton as a team that attacks.
Right.
But this season, they didn't have Caicedo, no McAllister. Solly Marsh was injured throughout.
True.
So they were missing 3 key pieces. And Ferguson was still injured.
True.
He's still an 18-year-old. Even though he's there, we can't rely on him much. Welbeck was not playing well. But then, still, João Pedro comes in, no hesitation, bangs 20 goals, 3 assists. Done. There's nothing much to talk about.
True, that's perfect.
It's that good.
The worst one.
I mean, it's Ansu Fati. It's difficult for me to say this as a Barca fan, but there was too much hype surrounding Ansu Fati.
True. Agreed.
I mean, he was supposed to be the next Messi, which by the way, I never agreed with that.
True.
Giving him number 10 is just too much pressure on him. But the thing is, he never played well. For Barca, just a header goal in El Clasico. I think that was the only defining moment that he had in his career, to be honest, at Barca.
I think even the youngest for Barca to score in the UCL or something.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
But to be honest, there was one season where he played 40 odd games. Other than that, I think the next highest for Barca was 20 games. That's it. He just couldn't stay fit enough to get a point where he scores a goal.
True.
It's just very difficult to see him score a goal at one point. Same thing this season. He just played 27 games, giving 4 goals, 1 assist. So that's it. It's done.
That's Brighton. And next one, Crystal Palace. Now Crystal Palace, how do we say this? Because the way that they ended the season, right, with their top scorer Mateta scoring 10 to 16 goals?
Yeah, 16 goals if I'm not wrong.
16 goals in the end. It was just absolutely crazy. But let's remember, Mateta was not this season's signing. This season's signing, our best, in our opinion, is Daniel Munoz. He was absolutely amazing. I'll let you talk about it. Because
so, I mean, if you noticed, Munoz, he came in January. And as you told, Crystal Palace started playing well after January. So, him playing in the right wing back, right mid or right back in that 5-1 back system, along with Mitchell on the left side, was just beautiful.
Right.
Where you already had people like Eze and Olise playing with Mateta out of nowhere coming to home. So, I always had a problem with Mateta and Edward, the 2 French strikers in Crystal Palace. They never clicked.
Right.
But this season, just out of nowhere, Munoz comes in, the whole team starts performing well.
True.
And he surprisingly has 4 assists. If you have noticed, it's just always Eze or Elise providing assists.
True.
But still, he has given that boost in that system where they could bomb him and Mitchell forward.
Agreed.
And then they come back. That's good enough.
Yep. And the worst signing was not a shock at all. It was former Arsenal defender Rob Holding, with an amazing contribution of just 1 game in his entire season, if I'm not wrong. I don't even remember when that 1 game is, because when you're just going through the players that
I do. That man, he played against United.
Oh, okay.
That 1 game was United in the EFL Cup, Carabao Cup. They lost 3-0. I mean, see, I'm honestly surprised that Rob Holding played this bad, because he scored, if you remember, he is the only person to score a goal against City last season. Only Arsenal player to score a goal.
True,
that is a banger.
Let's
be honest, that is a banger.
That's true.
So I had really high hopes on him.
Sure, man, definitely.
To be honest, I didn't realize he came to Crystal Palace. I was still thinking of there in Arsenal. So he had a pretty abysmal season with just one appearance. Come on, it's just easy.
Yeah, well, Palace was pretty easy to judge who was the worst, because what can
no questions.
Yeah.
Holding.
Well, David Moyes last season, some incredible signings were made in the summer. Let's go with the worst one, because it's pretty easy. Because
can we just not do that?
We'll go with the worst one, because the best one,
I don't want to.
It's pretty debatable who, and might be very shocking to you guys as well, but I will just go with the worst one.
Okay, please cut me out of this. I don't want to be.
The worst signing was Calvin Phillips. That's it. No more talking, because it's pretty obvious why Calvin Phillips is the worst signing.
I'm okay with that. Let's just not talk about it.
Probably the worst signing in the entire season. But the best signing. Now, many people will expect this name to be said as the best signing, and we're not taking the piss at all. We have actually thought about it. We put in genuine time about it, and we've even discussed it with our third roommate who we think is the best signing. Initially, in our mind, just one name popped. That was Mohamed Kudus.
I agree.
True, because the number of goals, the headlines that he keeps making, because he's always playing out on top. He's been a genuine character as well in the press as well, and to his West Ham fans. But if we deep dive into the numbers and the kind of money that was put into both the players, we thought James Ward-Prowse was the best signing for West Ham. It is underrated at West Ham. He's been underrated by the entire English media as well. Even for the England team, James Ward-Prowse not being there is very, very underrated. Does make sense. I'll let you talk about it because I'm sure you have better reasons why James Ward-Prowse.
So first, let me put out a few stats. Let's talk out both of them.
Right.
So first, Kudus. He's been exceptional, no questions asked. Last season he formed off attacks. He got his big money move. Let me emphasize on big. He got a 43 million move to West Ham. Where he's played 45 games, man didn't get injured. He gave 14 goals, 6 assists. That's insane. But again, he played up front.
Right.
So most of them, there's no Antonio in the squad. He was the sole man up top. So basically they were playing Jared Bourne up top. So it's him and Kudus over, like switching positions. So it is always them up top. So essentially attacker or striker scoring 14 goals, 6 assists. And then when you take Ward-Prowse, he scored 7 goals, 11 assists. So this was his first season with a new team. It was his first season where he was playing double pivot.
Right.
So if you've noticed last season, they had Declan Rice and Souček.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce his name, but those two.
Right.
So you could say number 6s. Yeah. And this season they had Souček. And then Ward-Prowse comes into that role. There is such difference with Ward-Prowse staying there.
Right.
You could see them, playing more fluid football. So last season, if you have noticed them play, it was just picking balls to Antonio, have him hold off, and then hope Bowen makes a run, lay it off to Bowen. There was no Paqueta in the picture when you were playing. But now, with Paqueta getting enough service, you could see sometimes Paqueta playing up top as their number 9. Sometimes you could see Bowen playing, sometimes Kudus playing. Right. I feel the major difference was Ward-Prowse. Right. Especially with a team like that which relies on set pieces, you get the man himself. Exactly. So I feel that was the signing of the season for me.
And the way he even announced himself to the West Ham fans in the true James Ward-Prowse fashion, the freak.
Very true.
It was just beautiful. So yeah, that's our opinion. Do let us know in the comment section if you guys think we are taking the piss or if you agree with us as well, because we genuinely felt the money spent on James Ward-Prowse and the kind of output he brought in from that midfield as well was just immaculate in our opinion.
One more thing is they also signed Edison Alvarez.
Right.
But the thing is, you could see them signing a CDM, a like-for-like replacement for Declan Rice, and still choosing to play Ward-Prowse over him, whereas pushing him down to centre-backs. They also signed another centre-back, I'm not sure, from Germany. But still, they were taking a bet starting Edson Alvarez in the centre-back role and having Ward-Prowse play that number 8, number 6 role, deep playing playmaker role. That, it just shows how crucial he has been this season for West Ham.
Facts. Well, now, our common rivals.
I'm excited for this.
Manchester United. Their season has been horrible.
No, they had a better season than Arsenal. Questions asked.
I did not finish.
Okay, I still wanted to put it out right there. They had a better season than Arsenal.
They had the worst Premier League season. Yet
their last season was better than Arsenal. Just saying.
Yet they have ended on having one trophy that was a major trophy unlike last season, a major trophy this season with an FA Cup. So I will agree, like I said last year, that okay, if it's Carabao Cup, I'm not going to agree that you had a better season than us. But they won the FA Cup over Manchester United. Not against Burnley or Sheffield United or Luton, against Manchester City.
You don't need to point here.
Manchester City. Manchester City. So, I will tell them, in terms of trophy, they've had a better season. But, their transfers.
I mean, let's talk about each and every transfer first before picking which one's the best or the worst. Okay, so let's start off with the relatively cheaper ones first.
Right.
So Amrabat paying that much for a loan move, it's not cheap. But in terms of the other signings, I feel it is one of the cheaper ones. So Amrabat, after the World Cup, where he pocketed Mbappe, to be honest, the whole game.
True.
You're expecting him to come in, stand next to none other than Casemiro, man the midfield. So thinking of this midfield where you had Bruno, Casemiro already established in the Premier League, and then Amrabat in the midfield as a defensive midfielder, a man who clears up behind Casemiro, who pings balls forward, the workhorse there. Sounded intriguing.
True, facts.
But then what happened? He comes in, he starts at left back. That left back situation where Reguilon, another signing this season, comes in. They intended on keeping him on loan. I get it, fine. There's nothing to talk much about him. When they had Luke Shaw and Malacia, I enjoyed getting him in. Having Reguilon in, come and fill here and there. Fine, that makes sense. But then how can you have someone like Amrabat, who's not quick, who is not technically gifted, play as a left back?
True.
He's not. By the way, he's not a left footer. And play in a system where he is the left back. He's supposed to bomb for it. He didn't bomb for it. He's supposed to bomb for it. Next to Rashford, another ball hog playing in front of him. There's nothing bad with the way Amrabat played this season, but the thing is, where he played, this is pure comedy.
True.
He was filling left, right and centre, filling everywhere. For some time, he comes on for Højlund. I don't know why he comes on for Højlund. No one knows why. He just comes on, plays everywhere. That's one signing. And then next, backup for Onana. To be honest, I saw the signing initially. Then I forgot that he existed.
True.
He never played. He had a beautiful season in Fenerbahce. He comes in for a mere 5 million. And yeah, he just stayed. He didn't get a chance. Fine, let's not talk much about it. There's no point of talking about him.
Agreed.
And then next, to be honest, a relatively good signing in Højlund. I'll not say a good signing. Comparatively a better signing.
I mean, I felt the fee was always high. I even said this on Twitter openly. I think the fee was genuinely high. There's talent. There's no doubt. You provide for him, he'll score. But for that amount of fee, you expect some amount of goals, right? But yeah.
See, last season when we were talking about Arsenal signing Jesus for 40 odd million, as a City fan, I was happy. I thought 40 million for Jesus was just insane, But looking at this signing now, I feel like we should have gotten around 100 million for Jesus because he is proven in the Premier League. He is not an 18-year-old with one breakout season. So I feel the signing was a little extra in terms of fee.
True.
But at the same point, his work rate is insane. He just runs all over the pitch. He compensates for the lack of Rashford's work rate and lack of Anthony's work rate. He just comes down. I don't know if you have noticed, till he scored his first goal in the Champions League, that was his first goal this season, he never had any service.
True.
The only game where he had service was when McTominay assisting him. Him scoring through McTominay's assist, man. That is how bad the service was. No offense, he finally turned out to be an okay player by the end of the season. He came up, the last 2 goals that he scored were just fluke. Just right foot, just kick it in. But yeah, I get it. It's an okay signing. Then our favourite, Andre Onana.
Oh my god. See, I personally have a soft spot for Onana, right? Because I've always honestly wanted Onana at Arsenal even before. Remember the time when we won the FA Cup? So after that season, we had a summer window. I genuinely hoped for Onana, but he had his own personal issues with the club. Again, another drug issues as well, and then he being banned for a certain amount of time. So it didn't happen. We got Ramsdale and now David Raya. Agreed. But the way he kept letting goals in, right? It was genuinely hilarious. Like, I supported him initially in the preseason, saying it was just preseason, but as the season went, I just couldn't, man. I couldn't. I couldn't save it.
So I don't know whom to blame here. The club for letting De Gea go and signing Onana.
Right.
So if you ask my perspective there, De Gea was insane at start-stopping. I agree. He had no ability with his feet. He just used his feet to save, nothing else. The point there is, if he were to pass it out to someone last season, who would he have passed it to? Varane, not good on the ball. Licha is the only player who was good on the ball, who could lift his head up and look for another pass. Luke Shaw, I don't get him, man. He never plays. And then on the right, it's Diallo. Man just bombs everywhere. He just comes into the midfield, goes up. There's no one to pass it to. And then Casemiro, if you somehow pick Casemiro, there's no use. He can't pass the ball up top, or he can't just pass it sideways. So they had to, sort out their midfield issue before blaming the keeper.
Right.
But having said that, Onana was a good signing at that time. So right now I just can't say the same thing.
Right.
Him coming in for 60 million from I get the fee when you were the Champions League finalist, where Inter Milan were there in the game because of Onana. There he was able to pass the ball out, create a headache for City's pressing. And paying 60 million made sense. But then he comes in, he lets in goals left, right, and he just dives up everything. He just messes up everything. He blames Maguire for his mistakes.
True.
There's nothing more to talk about Onana. He just sucks right now.
Yeah. Which brings us to the best signing that honestly we thought, in terms of the money, in terms of him performing in spite of not being on top of the pecking order. Do you want to say it or should I say it?
Just go ahead.
It's not us taking the piss. Generally, it's not us taking the piss.
It's true.
It's true. Free transfer, fifth, sixth.
Yeah, I mean, Varane, Licha, Lindelof, Maguire, then him.
So our best signing this season for Manchester United is none other than Johnny Evans. It is not us taking the piss. It is honest. It's honest reality because Højlund, that amount of money, he has not put in. He's not brought in those many goals. Onana, for that much amount of money, has he saved the ship or has he held a Titanic like how David De Gea did for United?
Nothing.
Not even 10%. Right. So Johnny Evans, like you said, there was like Varane, Maguire, Lindelof, Licha, and then
him.
Then Johnny Evans, and yet he came and played for about 30 odd games.
He was not supposed to, play for United this season.
That is true.
He was supposed to, just play the pre-season and then leave. But then this man comes in. Surprisingly, he played 30 matches.
30 matches, exactly.
When you had injuries for everyone, including himself, he still had something left in his tank to play 30 games.
I remember when I think there was an injury as well, and yet he failed the fitness test and yet played.
He played for 68 odd minutes that game and then he had to be taken off.
True.
Dude, imagine a scenario where so right now Casemiro is starting next to whoever, like next to Maguire or next to Kambawala. But imagine a scenario where Casemiro started every game that Evans started instead of Evans, if they wouldn't have signed Evans. They finished up the season with a goal difference of -1, having conceded 58. If it was not for Evans stepping up, being the fifth man, a 36-year-old, let's assume that Casemiro played there. I'm pretty sure it would have been even horrible.
True.
Negative into the double digits. It would have been a good thing for me and you, pretty
for
sure.
For sure.
But still,
anyway.
Credit where it's due. He has been insane this season. Not in terms of performance and all. He has stepped up when needed. And when you get
and he
someone
justified his value.
Exactly. When you get him, an experienced person teaching Kambawala there, that's good, more than what you want or expect from a signing of free signing. Makes sense.
True. And coming to our worst signing of this season for Manchester United, it is Chelsea star boy, the Chelsea reject in the very end, Mason Mount.
It was difficult, to be honest, picking him over Andre Onana. It was really difficult.
True.
It was a very difficult choice for us. But I mean, in the end, it came down to the transfer fee. 67 million for a person. At that time, I didn't know where he was going to play. Was he going to be a backup for Bruno? If so, why 67 million for him? Or was he playing next to Bruno and Casemiro? If you're doing that, why have some person who you can't rely on defensively at all? Why have him play number 8? I just don't know. Paying 67 million for him, he comes in.
Like, we agree that he's had that long-term injury. Don't get us wrong. We're judging him based on the 15
games he has played.
15 to 20 games.
20 games.
20 games he played. Yeah, he was just horrible. Like,
what he gave you?
He had one breakout season. Agreed. After that, the very next season, didn't do anything.
To be honest, the season that they won the Champions League, right? They sucked in the Premier League. It was very bad. But then if you see the formation up top for Chelsea that time, it was Timo Werner playing the number 9 role, and they had, you could say, 2 number 10s in Kai and Mason Mount. So those two were playing right next to Timo Werner as 2 second strikers. So none of them had defensive responsibilities. So Mason Mount was there, in terms of him showing up, doing a couple of moves to beat the defenders, then trying to ping balls to
and you had behind Kante, who was like one of the greatest sweepers. So.
You had Kante, Jorginho just staying back all throughout the game. Fine, makes sense. But then that's the thing. You get him into a system where there is no one staying back. Where you have your right back, Diego Dallo, just playing everywhere possible. He just goes up into the right wing. He just runs past Anthony and all. I don't see him playing in the midfield. Maybe Bruno's replacement or Bruno's backup makes a little sense. Doesn't make sense, but maybe makes a little sense. I get it. But then not the number 8 role. Not next to Bruno and Casemiro.
Right. Exactly. So that's at best and at worst signings for Manchester United. Well, the next team, Newcastle United. They had a shaky season only for the fact that they played in Europe Champions League. They were hard done there as well, where a horrible referee decision went against them, and in the end, them being knocked out of the group stages.
You mean with VAR being there, you would expect something, something right when it comes to Champions League against PSG. You expect a call
so obvious.
Yeah. It would have been different if, the referee didn't give the penalty.
True.
And then they had a VAR review, and then they would have sided with the referee. That made sense. But how can you give it as a penalty? That just didn't make sense.
True. I mean, us being neutral fans and then judging them itself was horrible. Yeah. You can imagine Alan Shearer. Even I think I've heard to the podcast 3 days back, and he was still losing his head how that decision went. So it was, and now they're out of Europe altogether. Right.
That's the thing. You were in Champions League. You were so close to coming out of the group of death into the round of 16 of Champions League. But because of one call, you end up finishing 4th.
Right.
Even behind AC Milan, who were never in contention for the second spot. Somehow you finish 4th. And somehow when people had expectations on you to get into Champions League easy, you finish 7th. Out of, now that United won, they're out of Conference League. No Europe next season.
No Europe as well. So, but they did have some, not some, they had insane amount of injuries if I'm not wrong. I remember this one game, I think it was against, you guys, against City as well, at Newcastle's home. They played an amazing 60 to 70 minutes, but where it completely hindered them were the injuries. So, in spite of that, they had one really, really good signing in this season. That was Livramento. I mean, that dude was always rated at City, if I'm not wrong. He was always rated at Southampton as well. And then when he went to Newcastle, he was still very, very good. In our opinion, the best signing this season.
Yeah.
Because of another reason we'll talk about later. But yeah, Livramento.
I mean, last season at Southampton, when he came into the limelight there,
True.
I was impressed. He could play on the right, he could play on the left, he was fast, he could defend. Maybe not so gifted on the ball, but he could do everything that you ask from a fullback. So having said that, this season if you have noticed Newcastle, Trippier out.
True.
Dan Burn out for a very high number of games. He was not out, he wasn't playing left back because Fabian Schär was injured, he had to fill up for him. And then you didn't have Kraft playing left back.
True.
You didn't have Target playing there. So, who are you left with? Only
Livramento and Lewis Hall. Remember, yeah.
Those were the 2 fullbacks that played. When Lewis Hall was playing, he filled up at right back. When Trippier came in for those odd few games where he made way too many mistakes, although he played, then Livramento filled in the left back spot. He, even though stats were very bad, where he only scored 1 and assisted 1,
True.
where you're playing a fullback in Newcastle where you're supposed to attack.
True.
Fine, I get the point there that he didn't maybe produce so many goals, but then you see him filling everywhere possible.
Right.
He has been the player in this injury crisis for Newcastle.
I mean, we did want to add Miley as well to this, but the fact that Miley was promoted from their academy, it wasn't right. But Miley, special shout out to you, because at the age of 16, 17, he played so well in that midfield where it was completely plagued with injuries. And somehow he still contributed, if not with the numbers. I think he just had 1 or 2 assists if I'm not wrong, but still that was really, really great from you. Coming to the worst signing, without a doubt, without any discussion, it was straight up Tonali.
Do you want to bet on that? I know it's a bad joke, but still had to say that.
There's no discussion about it because how did Newcastle not know about it?
You spent 72 million on a player. First of all, he is not happy to come to your club. First, he was not willing to leave AC Milan, but with Maldini gone and everything, all the scenario there, he was fine. He was coming to Newcastle, but he didn't want to be there. You could see him in the presentation ceremony, everything. He was not happy being here. And then it turns out that you pay 72 million for a player. He's only going to pay 12 games for you. Man, that sucks.
True. I mean, it's funny how Newcastle didn't find out about all of this.
Exactly.
These were issues not even when he came to Newcastle. These were the issues when he was at AC Milan. Somehow AC Milan kept it very, very wrapped. I'm sure many players knew about it, and somehow it was still under wraps. And probably the worst signing in terms of player not being available for a huge amount of time. Well, the next team who we did not think would make it into a European position, who we are glad that they sacked their manager after bringing so much stability at the end of the season. Chelsea. Poch is sacked. As an Arsenal fan, I'm happy he's sacked because Chelsea was starting to look dangerous. He's gone. The best performer in that team, probably by a long margin, by a long mile, Cole Palmer, City's ex-City's product. Absolutely amazing. 36 goal and assist contribution. You could say most of them have come from penalties, but if penalties were the one that were to take them into Europe, why not, right?
Yeah, why not? They are in Europe. He played well. He gave them what the team needs.
True.
Fine. The team has a lot of talent, let's be honest. With the raw talent, let's say raw talent.
Raw talent.
Yeah, they have a lot of raw talent. But then he's the only one producing numbers.
True.
So why not? I mean, look at the difference between him and the others. You take the top scorer list. He has 22 goals. And then next is none other than Nicholas Jackson
right.
with what? 14 goals? 14 goals. And then the next one Sterling with 8. So he has, the same number of goals as these two combined. So you can see the levels there, levels he's producing. Fine, I have a little bias because he's a City boy. Still.
Yeah. Well, but coming to the worst signings that Chelsea have made, the list goes on and on. But we somehow come up with 3 names.
So let's get the most obvious thing out of the way. Ugochukwu.
Ugochukwu. Came in for a lot of money, did not do anything for them.
By anything, we mean anything. No goals, no assists, nothing.
Exactly.
He played 15 odd games. Chelsea spent 28 million, which is literally chump change for them. That's a different story. But still, you look at a player who's been bought for 28 million into a Premier League Big 6, you would think that they're going to do something. At least a goal for my satisfaction. Nothing. 0 goals, 0 assists.
Right.
Nothing.
And their other big signing, Nicholas Jackson. We agree he has about 14 goals. But if you are a football fan, if you are being absolutely honest, you know that in those 14 goals, I think 50 to 60% of the goals came in 3 matches, 3 to 4 matches over the entire season.
The one against Spurs already gives you 25% of his goals.
Exactly.
It just doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure half of you, would be thinking that he scored 17 goals, gave 6 assists, and him being in this list doesn't make sense. But then you guys out there who watch
football,
who watch Chelsea's games, know how bad he has been.
True.
You need to give him 7, 8, 9 chances on goal to make sure he scores 1. So FA Cup game against City, my man missed 3 chances. That was the time where City played, within 2 days of them losing to Madrid, playing 120 minutes and a penalty shootout. City were very bad there. He had 3 chances in the first 35 minutes. 3 one-on-ones. What do you do? Miss up everything.
Exactly.
And then this is the same story with them every game, even against Arsenal.
Exactly. When we batted them 5-0, I think in the first half, Nicholas Jackson at least had 2 chances. Had he scored at least 1,
the game would have been completely different. Yeah, when a team is essentially made with teenagers and kids, like Chelsea has, so the first 30 minutes are crucial. They can't lose their heads there, But when your main man is not scoring, you create some 3-4 chances against teams that dominate and still not score. Yeah, you're bound to lose your heads and not score. That is the reason we put them on the list.
Well, and their
big man.
The second biggest or their biggest? Their second biggest, right? I think Enzo costed 120.
I mean, 5-10 million here and there.
Exactly. So. Their biggest signing in the summer, Caicedo. For 116 million, he was probably the worst. I'm saying the worst because Grealish has contributed for City in getting that treble.
He won us a treble. Please.
Exactly, treble. I agree. That's right. Treble was at least there for that 100 million price tag. For 116 price tag, yeah, he had 1.5 good season. Not even the best. 1.5 good season.
That half season, it was just not him having a good season. It's just people were surprised that he could play. It was just that he was not exceptional like he was last season. It was just that people, especially the pundits, they were not expecting some guy called Caicedo to come up, step up, and then be a decent player in Premier League.
True.
But then last season he just popped off. Get it?
Yeah, but
116 million. Come on,
didn't
man.
justify even
half
40 million. Forget even 40 million. He is not justified in any way.
But yeah, he played 48 games. He was not the worst player in Chelsea, nor was he the worst player, or he was not the person who gave the worst performances. But again, for 116 million, they expect you to give the best performances, not mediocre. So yeah, because of that reason, he's in that list.
I mean, there are many more, but do let us know in the comment section if you guys agree if one of these three is the worst, or if you guys have better reasons on who's much more worse than these. Do let us know in the comment section.
We can help you out with a few more names.
Yeah,
Axel Disasi. That one game against City, only that game. Afterwards, I've never heard of him. And then Romeo Lavia. I mean, yeah, he was injured, but the one game he played was bad. Same thing with Nkunku.
Right.
He was the main man in Leipzig. They were expecting him to be the main man this season with Sterling on one side.
Right.
And then I don't know. I mean, when they signed Cole Palmer from City, were they expecting him to be the main man from the start? I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
Because yeah, if you look at that, it was Nkunku, Sterling, and then was it Nicholas Jackson to be the third one in the attack? Maybe. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, I think it would be slightly very, very harsh if we told Nkunku and Lavia in that list, because to be fair, Nkunku came from a long injury. Then he did somehow at least had some contribution in terms of a goal and an assist. But Lavia, long injury, played few minutes and again got injured in that game. It was absolutely horrible for him. So it would be very harsh to include him.
Yeah, we didn't include them in the list for that reason. But then there are points where you could make to say that they are bad.
True. Well, the team that apparently had everything in their own hand to decide who's the title who are the title winners.
No, this is you being sore. It's okay, Suchi.
No!
It is you being sore.
It is what the media said. It is what their fans said.
Come on, I've seen people, I've seen Instagram, where they've been saying that Spurs fans are selling tickets to Arsenal, just selling off their tickets just to make sure that the atmosphere is different, and then Arsenal fans are buying those tickets, coming in, and then people saying it's more like the crowd is going to be City versus Arsenal. My God, the news that came out, and then Ange coming out,
him having his blockbuster press conferences. Yeah, it was proper circus out there.
Yeah, it was a proper cinematic ending to a Premier League season, which was it as what do you say, as tight as the previous seasons? Maybe not previous seasons in the sense the 1 point seasons to Liverpool.
Liverpool, right.
Yeah, was it this tensed or was it this close? I mean, in terms of numbers, maybe yeah. But the thing is, it's the City's fan base after City winning a treble. They didn't really bother in terms of
winning. Season, right.
But the only thing that City fans wanted to see was them getting 4-peat. Just so that United doesn't have anything else to talk about in terms of achievements that City could go over. I mean, you can say that they have the highest number of Premier Leagues. All that is obvious. But still, there's no more treble.
I mean, see, the fact that Arsenal have competed for the title after the 2004 season, I think couple of times. But never has it been this close. Right?
That's true. In sense of that, it is.
And also for the fact that we had a 3-horse race until Crystal Palace completely shut down Liverpool at Anfield. So the hype was there, agreed. But in terms of being very honest, I think the Spurs game was the one defining whether City are going to drop or City are going to go and win the title.
Because it's Spurs, we're talking at it this way. But the match, it didn't look like that. Maybe the first 10-15 minutes where Spurs, Bentancur took a shot.
Took. I mean, or even, first 10 minutes and then one very short from Heung-min Son.
Yeah, exactly.
Son. Anyways, the best signing that Spurs had this season. We're not talking about title race. The best
quite
season.
A few signings that you can talk about. You can talk about Mickey
van der Beek.
Yeah, you can talk about Vicario. You can talk about Madison.
Madison as well.
But when you take all these three into account, where you talk about Madison, he had an insane start to the season. Him and then Son together, having their blockbuster celebration together was just sweet to watch. But then he just fell off after the
injury, and then Madison
he just didn't do anything.
True.
And then Mickey. So he could only play 26 games because of his injury. Him and Romero getting injured together, that was sad.
And even the first North London derby, when Mickey van der Ven was so good. His recovery runs was just incredible. But
if he would have played a few more games, maybe then definitely he would have been in this. Would have been the signing. And then Vicario. So I feel it is a lot more hype, and then a lot more. What would you say?
Theatrics when he saves.
No, not exactly theatrics. I mean, see, as a keeper who's playing in the Premier League for a big team, you are expected to make a few saves. So that doesn't mean you are the keeper of the season or whatever.
Right.
But he made very good saves. But then there are few times he struggled very bad. So especially the balls into the air. My God, that man struggles with the balls in the air.
Arsenal took complete advantage of that.
So you see Arsenal match. Arsenal doing that. City were putting in swingers only at Vicario. That is the only thing they were doing. So these are the few reasons we didn't go with these. But I want to listen to this coming out of your mouth.
What?
The best Spurs signing this season.
I'll be very honest, right? He was part of my FPL in spite of him being a Spurs player, but in my opinion, Destiny Udogie was the best signing. It was Vicario. It was close finish with Vicario, but if you look closely, Vicario had so many issues, but Destiny Udogie, whenever he played after his injury, on pre his injury as well, he's been amazing for Spurs. The way they changed the system as well. I think you can speak more about it.
It was beautiful to see, a team that had people like Danny Rose, Ben Davis playing in the left back, where their only job was to sprint down the wing if possible and then put the balls in. To then see Udogie, who was rapid. He could do the same thing. Could do even better. But you see Vicario get the ball. The next thing you see is Udogie going onto the halfway line and then coming into the midfield. It's just a very weird position he takes up, which then lets everyone go forward. And he is good on the ball that he's able to pick passes.
Right.
He just revamped the system. And then, here again a special mention to Mickey. If it was not for Mickey and Mickey's pace in the left side of the defense, he wouldn't have been able to do that.
True.
His flaws in the system of Ange asking him to go forward and take that role would have come out if not for Mickey.
Right.
But this man, he is the only reason why they're able to play that beautiful style of pressing.
Agreed.
Or if they lose the ball right there, then he's the first man who starts the press.
I mean, initially there were like a lot of things, right?
Exactly.
Are Spurs better without Harry Kane or not? Many things came because of the signings of Mickey or signings of Udogie, but I think Udogie's signing was more crucial in the way that they played.
Exactly.
It brought in, the latest type of football, like the kind of the rock and roll football that Spurs fans wanted to see. They had years of Poch, then they had Mourinho, then they had Conte.
They were always, stuck with that weird 5-man back. I wouldn't say 5-man back. I would say a very hybrid between 5 and 3, where those two attack. But then, these are the fullbacks that Ange needs and Ange got for his type of football. It's going to be exciting next season without injuries.
Well, I'm not saying anything. Special mention, I did want to mention Pedro Porro as well, but the fact that he was on loan back in 2023 January itself and then confirmed this season, it was not fair to add him in this list. Going to their worst signings,
the less we talk, the better.
I mean, to be fair, most of the signings worked.
Worked good, yes.
But one standout signing that was honestly horrible, and he has come out on another 1-year loan for Spurs. It was honestly very funny. I thought they were making progress towards to a better future, but they signed this guy again on 1-year loan. It was none other than Timo Werner.
Yeah, I could see their thought process behind signing him on a loan. So you always had Son playing next to the striker. Son is essentially a left winger who tries to come and play the second striker role. So Timo Werner, after he left Chelsea, he has been playing that left wing coming inside for RB Leipzig. Once he went back, Yusuf Paulsen was there, number 9. So he used to come in from the wing with that rapid pace and then play. So I could maybe see the reason why, Ange got him back, trying to see if they had some other sort of football that they can work with him. But then it didn't work out. Him playing 14 games in the second half season with so many people injured, Solomon not starting, Brian Gill not starting, still only getting 14 games, you could see the signing.
And I think he did have a bunch of injuries as well in the last 3-4 games. Also for the fact that it's a January signing, right?
Yep.
If you're a summer signing, that means you'll have time in the preseason on how the system needs to be working and all that. So, I mean, in spite of that, Chelsea still sucked. That's a different story. But if you were a summer signing and still played this badly, you would have been probably the worst. But since you were a January signing, it's a 50-50. Probably the worst of the best. That's it. That's all we can say.
Yeah.
Well, the next team in the top 4 who's made Champions League after so many years, under the manager who was choked when he was managing Arsenal as well, is none other than Aston Villa.
Yep.
Aston Villa under Unai Emery has been so good. The signings were good. The signings were smart. They were actually very effective as well. And best out of that, this season we felt it was Pau Torres. The way he came into the team, the way he took up that role in spite of many injuries in that team. Okay, there were not numbers to showcase that, but if you put into context the kind of injuries that have happened for the players in that position, I think Pau Torres has been amazing.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, for me, he's been the best signing this season that is made by Aston Villa. So I know most of us would have, the first thought that comes to our mind if we talk about signings is going to be Moussa Diaby. Because coming in from Bayer Leverkusen and then putting up good numbers. But the thing is, if you put it this way, where Pau Torres stepped up when their main man for the past 3-4 years being Mings got injured, and Diego Carlos, their biggest signing until then, was not playing well and being injured for the first half of the season, and then Matty Cash having the worst season of his life, where Konsa had to go and fill up that right back spot. He comes in, he makes his mark there. He is essentially the first name on the team sheet. That is how he has been this season. So yeah, I agree with you. He is the best signing that Villa made this season.
Well, not all the signings have been a successful signing, which brings us to the worst signing that Aston Villa have made, Zaniolo.
Yeah, I used to love Zaniolo, man. Especially you guys who used to play career modes of years ago know Zaniolo. He was something else. An Italian guy who came from smaller league clubs in Italy, moved on to Roma, was destined for greatness. Then what happens? He just couldn't do it. He gets his move to Turkey. But everyone knows that even though he got his move or he was forced to go to Turkey, there was still something left in him. So then comes Unai Emery. He sees him fit to play that number 10 role or play that only right-footed player in Aston Villa's attack, where you see Leon Bailey being a left-footer, John McGinn, who sometimes plays left wing, left mid, being a left footer, Diaby being a left footer. Then you know that he is going to start almost every game. He comes in. What does he do? He starts every game. He plays 39 games. What did he do? Giving 3 goals and 0 assists. He was meant to give assists. Nothing happening there.
Exactly. I mean, like, Tielemans was sort of a shadow, but Tielemans still had a better season than Zaniolo.
He was injured for quite a bit, and then all of us know that the hype around Tielemans died down a couple of years ago. Initially, it used to be NDD, Tielemans, and Maddison in Leicester, but then a couple of years ago, it's just Maddison, and then Tielemans once in a while comes in and then scores a banger, goes out. So yeah. We never had so many expectations on any other signing, but especially Zaniolo, essentially with their midfield, where they didn't have any playmaker. Tielemans was supposed to be the playmaker, but he gets that long-term injury. Then what is their midfield? Kamara, Douglas Luiz, McGinn. Imagine, instead of McGinn, he has been their captain or the great player, but still, imagine Zaniolo slotting into that role, playing that number 10 behind Ollie Watkins. That would have been insane, but just didn't happen.
The last season that Jurgen Klopp manages Liverpool, a 3-horse race that was somewhat stopped almost by the 33rd or 34th game week. But in spite of that, Liverpool have been in a great position. Nobody thought that they would be in this situation, to be very fair.
True.
But they made some statement signings. But in spite of that, we felt this signing was the best one. probably still a statement signing because of the fact that he was so cheap. It was none other than Alexis McAllister.
I mean, when you pay 40 odd million for a World Cup winner, it's not just a World Cup winner who didn't play games, but a World Cup winner who was crucial in almost every knockout game. And then a number 10 in a club like Brighton, who was the key to playing attacking football there. Then you sign him for 40 odd million. Fine, after signing him, he played 46 games, but most of them in the number 6 role. Fine, that's all right. But still, even though he played there, he still scored 7, assisted 7 in the Premier League. Not only that, he somehow managed to defend with Konate getting injured in the back, Kwanzaa being their second defender, with Trent getting injured, Bradley coming in, with Sikimas playing left back. Simikas playing left back. And then Simikas, that is so funny, him breaking his collarbone, tackling Klopp. And then who comes in to play left back? Joe Gomez plays left back. With so many defensive issues, somehow he plays the number 6 role. He still only concedes how many goals? 40 odd goals in the Premier League. That is the third best. I mean, he has had an exceptional season everywhere possible.
Because initially, like, you wouldn't put McAllister as the best signing, but the fact that he's been playing out of position in the number 6, where he's a number 10, and in the World Cup he played as a number
8. You could say 8 and 10.
Yeah, something. And in the World Cup he looked like he was playing as Messi, because majority of times I think when you look in the midfield and creation, right, it almost felt like Messi was creating, but it was just incredible. 40-45 million is absolutely one of these statement signings in terms of the value as well. It's absolutely incredible. But when it comes to the worst signings that Liverpool made this season,
to be honest, there are a couple. So
the first one we'll talk about is the fact, is their biggest signing.
I don't get it. I mean, I personally know a few Liverpool fans
right,
who talk shit about City because they spend money. What do they do in return? They signed Dominic Szoboszlai for how much? 75 million. I really don't get why they did that. Because you see his past seasons in Leipzig. Let's not go back to Salzburg era. Let's talk in Leipzig. He scores 10 goals as his 13. Mind you, he was always playing that attacking role where he was more or less a second fiddle to the striker. Fine, they were insane numbers. But are they worth 70 million? No. But the funny part here is he is not the worst. They've made even a worse signing. Go ahead.
I mean, regarding Dominic Szoboszlai, right? Why he's still not the worst in spite of spending that much is the fact that he's played most of the time as a right back whenever Trent bombarded forward. I think this is very, very evident when Arsenal played Liverpool at Anfield.
They were just targeting. They were just pinging the balls into Martinelli's zone, where Magalhaes gets the ball, just shoot it, eat it up the field, and then try and figure out that route. After the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then it was all Szoboszlai going there and then covering up. So his potential role of going and attacking is being masked by his defensive duties. I get that, but still, I still feel 70 odd million is not something you spend on a guy like Szoboszlai.
Probably a 50-55 would have been good, because I sort of have a soft spot again for him, because again, after the FA Cup winning season, we've targeted Szoboszlai for majority of the season. Then suddenly it is, no, I want to go sign for the sister club of Red Bull. So I still have a soft spot, but again, 73-75 million for a player who's not done well, it's still under the radar because of the fact that he's played under a different position which is not his. Which comes to the worst signing that we have this season for Liverpool, that is Gravenberch.
I don't know about Gravenberch, man. He played so well in Ajax. Then he gets his dream move to Bayern Munich. Then he goes to Bayern. He doesn't play, he doesn't start, he doesn't do anything. Then it was out of nowhere. He comes to Liverpool.
It felt like a panic signing, right?
So I don't know. I mean, they signed Wataru Endo. Then out of nowhere they say they're signing Gravenberch for 40 odd million. I'm not wrong, I don't get it. Why did they sign him? I don't know. What is he doing? So but one good thing is he is the engine, or he is the Wijnaldum that they need. But the thing is, as long as they don't have a proper playmaker or a proper guy to pick him out, I don't see him.
I mean, he did sort of like play the Wijnaldum role, right?
Exactly.
Keeping getting injured and all.
No, but the thing is, he still somehow managed to give 38 appearances in the season.
True. I mean, I think his only, I think known contribution that was very, very good was, I think, in the Carabao Cup against Chelsea, right? He had a very, very good game in spite of players being injured in the back line as well. I think he did have a very good Carabao Cup, don't get me wrong. But apart from that, I think for that money, playing the right position as well, unlike Dominic Somersley, it was very poor from him.
Yeah, I mean, one more thing, if it was just us picking the bad signings, these two wouldn't have made the list. Gravenberg nor Dominic Somersley would have made the list. But then because we are talking about the worst signings this season by the club, then of course these are the two worst signings that Liverpool have made. So yeah. You're good.
Yeah. Well, Arsenal.
The bottlers.
No, who did not bottle it.
Second,
the team that looked like the part in the title race. In spite of the fact that Liverpool has bottled it.
The team
and Arsenal are not the ones who bottled it. Arsenal did bottle it back in 22-23 season. I will agree because there was 11-point difference. But this season, in my opinion, we did not bottle it.
Okay, fine. Let me put it this way. The team that is consistently underperforming when compared to United. For the last 2 seasons at least.
Underperforming?
Yeah. See, last season what did you win? Nothing. What did they win? AFL Cup. This season what did you win? Community Shield. It is a friendly. No one counts it as a major trophy.
So the best signing that Arsenal.
And then United, what did they win? FA Cup. So yeah. Yeah, go ahead, please. The best signing.
Okay. So Arsenal did make about 4 to 5 signings. 4 signings this season. Urian Timber, Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, and who's the other signing that we made? Damn, did I forget my own signing? Yeah, we did have one more signing, right?
What?
David Raya. Yeah!
You.
Golden glove, man. Clean sheets. Arsenal. Whatever. But in spite of Kai Havertz having that 20-goal contribution, we honestly felt Declan Rice was the best signing because when you pay 100 million for a player, you expect that kind of performance.
120 million.
120 million. Sorry, why was 100? Okay, wrong. 120 million. You expect proper performances from a player who doesn't average at least, and whose average should be at least 7 rating out of 10 in every game. And with the fact that he's added goals all to his game, which is absolutely incredible.
That to clutch goals.
Yeah, clutch goals. United, his first goal was a clutch goal.
Out of nowhere, man. Just pops up, nods it and done.
Against United. Yeah. Then his second clutch goal was against Luton Town, I think in December, the winner as well. So yeah, when you sign a player for 120 million or 100 million plus, the price tag always sticks with you throughout the season. But I think by the half of the season, people stop talking about his price tag because he's been that good.
He's been insane. Yep.
Agreed. And City have been trying to sign Declan Rice as well. If City got Declan Rice right, I think for the next 3-4 years minimum, you can just give the cup to them. There is no doubt about it. But the fact that Arsenal have got it, I couldn't be more happier. Which comes to the worst signing.
The worst signing among those signings is Timber. See, the thing is, he has not played anything. He's gotten injured. But again, we are picking out of those 4 signings that you guys made. So yeah, it is Timber. I mean, there's nothing to talk about it. It's just Timber.
Yeah,
done.
It's not for the fact that he's been bad. It's just that
there is no one else who was.
Yeah, there's no one else to pick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like
he's the only one who didn't play. So obviously,
agreed.
He played worse than the others. So
we're worse than the others.
Yep.
That's Arsenal. Like, I'm so glad we finished it in this much time with this.
I mean, there's nothing to talk about Arsenal. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, the winner of the Premier League 23-24 season, Manchester City.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Can you do it once more?
Shut up. Anyways, they made bunch of signings. One being their best signing. The price tag was insane, but again, when you perform so well, the price tag is almost forgotten. We did not realize the price tag until we looked into the numbers as well.
Not me.
Okay, me. I've completely forgot regarding the price tag because he was that good by the end of the season. It is none other than Guardiola. As an Arsenal fan, let me just say, honestly, when he started this season, I thought there was no way that this guy or City are going to do well with him being in that starting lineup. I think we can be very honest. I had even another City fan on the channel who, if you've been consistently seeing videos, even he said Guardiola did not start off well, but turn of the year he's been really, really amazing. And ending of the season has probably been the clutch player for you. Normally you expect clutch in terms of Haaland, KDB, Gundogan last season, or even Foden, but yeah, Guardiola has been absolutely clutch for these guys.
So him not starting off well, I would more so put it towards City's team selection and then City as a team.
Okay.
In the sense that they started off the season with them having, I think, 4 midfielders in the squad altogether. If you count, it's Rodri, Kovacic, De Bruyne, Nunez. These are the only 4 midfielders in the squad.
Fit or like in like number?
No, just the number. These are the only 4 midfielders all together in the squad. And then you had Callum Phillips, who they, as soon as they could, they just loaned him out and not playing even though he was there. And then you had Bernardo Silva, who people were counting as a midfielder. So you can see the state of City's midfield then. They lost the Mr. Dependable throughout the season.
The clutch.
They couldn't replace him. They got in Matheus Nunes, but then he is not a midfielder. So this being the scenario, and then De Bruyne gets injured. So what does Pep do? He uses his big brain,
Alvarez,
and then puts Alvarez into the number 6 role. Mind you, not into the De Bruyne's role. Into the De Bruyne's role is Bernardo Silva coming in, playing that number 10. Who plays next to Rodri?
Of course,
Julian Alvarez.
Alvarez.
So essentially, the midfield was Rodri playing that number 6, going forward and all, and then Julian Alvarez taking forward in that number 8 role, and then Bernardo doing everything possible in the midfield, but playing that De Bruyne role, picking pass.
Oh, and while doing all that everything, he gets a red card out of frustration. Yeah,
and
somehow Arsenal.
This is the case. That time, This is the case, and this is how Guardiola started. So then Pep couldn't do his usual tactic of sending Stones into midfield. Not the usual, but last season's tactic, because my man Stones gets injured the start of the season. Then what happens? Then he tries to send Akanji into the midfield. It's just very weird. So he figures out multiple things. Then he lets Akanji go in and also Walker bomb down the Kings. Who's left at the back? Guardiola and Ruben
Dias.
So this is the reason why he didn't start off well. But then slowly throughout the season, right? You can see the tactic also changing. Where Pep was willing to start Kovacic, who generally doesn't start along with De Bruyne, and then stick to this traditional system where let's not send a centre back into the midfield, but let Guardiola do his thing in the wing. So it turned out that Guardiola was overlapping Doku and running in the wing as a proper left back, and then at the right you have Bernardo Silva sticking to the right, and then De Bruyne and Foden switching, and one of them making the run into the right. So you had 2 people in the right making the run, 2 people in the left, and then you had the striker Haaland, and then one number 10, either Foden or either De Bruyne, one of those 2 staying back. So finally, when the system worked out, he was insane. He could play up, he could use his right foot.
True.
Man, he played really well after getting used to the system or starting the system out.
The way he used to bombard forward, and then sometimes you forget that he's a defender, right? The way he used
he can dribble, he can use his right foot, but he's a 6 foot something centre back.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that he's a centre back 6 foot something, and then he uses his right foot, man. Something.
Like his center of gravity so low, like he can just make the shift from the left into the midfield so easily. I think the last time I've seen such a player do that, I think was Timber, right? The way Timber just shimmies his way through defenders or something. When him being a defender alone, I think Guardiola is such an incredible player. Yeah, in the World Cup against Argentina, he's completely sucked because Messi being Messi.
Just
but
one thing,
Guardiola has been absolutely incredible.
So with so many things, this season City has conceded 34 goals. But last season, where City were rock solid with the defense, they conceded 33. So you can still see the impact that Guardiola had in the team coming in with so many injuries, so many things, missing people like Cancelo and all. Still him coming in and then making sure City doesn't concede way too many goals. He's been the signing after a point.
Yeah. Right. He's a left-footed guy who scored an incredible right-foot goal as well. Again, one of those clutch moments that kept City still in the pole position of winning the title.
Sure.
Pole position. I'm not saying anything else. Well, that brings us to the worst signing and the last worst signing that we're going to rate today. Manchester City's worst signing.
I mean, it's obvious. It's Matheus Nunes. I don't know what to say. I mean, they tried to replace Gundogan with a guy who can't defend. His only role is to act like a guy, De Bruyne light. That is how he plays. And then how can you replace Gundogan with that guy? He just comes into the team. He gets injured in the start. Then even though De Bruyne was injured, Pep didn't want to play him in place of De Bruyne. Just understand how bad he has been throughout the season or the starts he's gotten. He has given 4 assists in a team like that where you have everyone scoring goals. He could only muster up 4 assists, man. There's nothing else to talk. He's just bad.
Yeah.
I just don't want to talk anymore about this.
In my opinion, I felt he was a panic buy, because it just came out of nowhere. It didn't look like Nunez was the guy to replace.
So I always thought that Nunez was going to be a backup to De Bruyne.
Exactly. Yeah,
That's what I always thought. I always thought they were still going to go and pick one box to box or another number 6 to play alongside Rodri, but not him playing Rodri. Because I always knew Kovacic was not going to play in City system because he takes too long on the ball. That is the reason why Grealish didn't play last season or this season much. So, but yeah, he's just some guy for something.
Yeah. Well, that's it, guys. Those are our ratings, our best signings and our flop signings for each and every team that played in the Premier League 23-24 season. Stay tuned for more such videos because I have more such videos as well. But I've not said this in the starting. I hope you guys are already doing it. That is to keep supporting me, keep subscribing, keep liking and keep commenting on all these videos, as I will be making more videos for you guys, and I will be graduating soon. We both are going to graduate soon, so this is
already graduated, so just don't include
me. Yeah, this is our only thing because we are absolutely jobless at this point, which is a very bad thing. But yeah, till I see you guys soon. Till then, good morning, good evening, and good night wherever you are in the world. Peace.